Aunt Ruth, why are so many autistic people, including advocates, so upset by Kaelynn's video?
Well, let's look.
The more words an autistic person has, the less grace we're given. Two stories, same struggle, one gets patience, the other gets punished.
Well, first I'd argue that a point being made here is valid.
Just so we're on the same page, what's the valid point?
That low supports needs people are often met with judgment, not empathy nor accommodation. That our ability to mask sometimes makes people not take our needs seriously, inevitably causing marginalization.
So what's the problem?
Several of them. The framing of the point pits one group of autistic people against another. It taps into feelings of unfairness and jealousy. Why not make the point that low supports needs autistic people deserve empathy and accommodations without comparing us?
But why not show that difference?
Because it's a false dichotomy. This video implies that the vast majority of high supports needs autistics are met with empathy and immediate support and accommodation. This is demonstrably false. Not to mention racially ignorant, as racialized autistics very rarely get access to support at all, much less the same treatment as non-racialized autistic people.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. But what about autistic people who do get support?
In certain environments with certain professionals or certain family members, that minority of privileged high supports needs autistic people are sometimes given the accommodations they need.
Privileged autistics?
Yes. Having access to services because you are white, are of certain economic class, and live in an area that offers services is privilege that many, or I'd wager most, don't have. Being marginalized due to your neurotype does not mean you do not benefit from other privileges.
Well, at least these certain higher supports needs autistic people get empathy and accommodations, so the point's still kind of valid.
Do they? You're telling me that in the rare cases where an autistic person is in an environment where the caregiver is empathetic, that an autistic person, especially who is either non-speaking or experiencing verbal shutdown, will immediately get their needs met? That their caregivers instantly know what the need is and how to effectively address it. That the caregivers are always having a good day. That they're responsive, patient, and have mind-reading abilities. That even if the clinic is exceptional, the parents aren't also ableist.
Okay, so maybe it's not so common for them to have their needs met.
And what about the reverse? What about low supports needs people who have found environments and care, from teachers with appropriate 504s, to clinics, to family and friends who provide support and accommodations?
So you're saying a lot of the higher supports needs people don't get the care depicted in this video, and a lot of the lower supports needs autistic people often get more care than is shown.
It isn't black and white. Again, not a dichotomy. But I know far more lower supports need autistic people, from kids to adults, myself included, who have found equitable spaces, where the same is not true of the higher supports needs autistic people, sometimes in those same spaces. Case in point, I have been offered a role in every community theater production I have ever auditioned for. I know another autistic individual with higher supports needs who is almost never cast in those same productions. And they're a good actor.
Okay, but community theater, that's different than...
School, church, restaurants, libraries, malls, grocery stores, barbers, around the police. Outside of a clinic, how much empathy and met accommodations do you think a higher supports needs autistic person gets throughout their days compared with a lower supports needs autistic person?
I couldn't begin to guess, but...
Exactly! So why are we using the most vulnerable of us to pretend the less vulnerable of us have it somehow worse? That somehow, if we have a greater vocabulary, it makes us less able to access accommodations?
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds... yeah.
And I haven't even yet touched on the fact that the video uses harmful terms. Terms that are even often discouraged in the ableist medical field. The video labels autism as severe and mild. That's RFK shit! That's language tied to Aspie supremacy and eugenics.
Whoa, that is way too far. Kaelynn would never...
Educate herself? She's been doing this how many years now, and she's still using this kind of language? Taking this kind of approach, pitting autistic people against each other? It's so disappointing.
Mild and severe are in quotes in her video, so maybe that implies... Okay, so maybe that doesn't excuse it, but maybe it wasn't intentional to...
She's normalizing and popularizing the language, whether it's intentional or not. Now, I've been waiting to make this video. 1, because I got better things to do than to try to help clean up the mess. But 2, I wanted to see how Kaelynn would handle the necessary criticism I knew was coming her way. Many autistic activists reached out to her, had conversations, comments, DMs with her. Many of these activists are racialized and higher supports needs autistic people, speaking from lived experience and lived harm.
How did she respond?
She did make one partial apology about deliberately mispronouncing Mamdani's name, but then she claimed these activists were making videos for views.
After they reached out and tried to address things?
Yeah. And taking on a creator of her size comes with immense risk, and it's not worth the piddly amounts of views. Yet she claims they have a private Discord server that they've been just waiting for her to say something wrong so that they can pile on.
That's an absurd accusation.
I'm certainly not aware of any Discord server, and this isn't the first time she's been called out and responded by playing the victim, where she doesn't take the video down and won't make a follow-up video apologizing and addressing the harm that she continues to cause, all while making money off of it.
It's not a good look, but she is autistic, so...
Being autistic might account for missing some context, but it doesn't excuse harm, nor absolve her or any of us from accountability. While many of her videos can be helpful, this video of hers and how she responded to valid critique isn't how you do advocacy. It's relatability content. The autism community needs better. Anyway, here are some creators you should consider following for a more well-rounded view and true advocacy work.